Hello there and welcome to another episode of Wet Liberal Whenever. Guns and oil, those are the two subjects I want to talk about today. Guns, let's start with guns. I did actually experience using handguns when I worked in the United States a few years ago. I went to some gun clubs, one very dodgy one in the Valley, which was full of actual criminals practicing their shooting skills, and then quite a large selection of people who work in the adult film industry. So didn't immediately blend in, but then I really tried and we all got on very well together. Luckily no one shot anyone, any person shot at targets. I was absolutely rubbish with a revolver, but quite good with an automatic handgun. Like that, all that stuff. Very interesting experience because I'd never done it before. We don't have guns like that in this country. We're not allowed to have them, and very rightly so, I think. But it was an interesting experience to go there, and one of the things that it reminded me of was a talk I saw many years ago given by a psychologist who in his earlier life had been a fighter pilot in World War II. He'd flown Spitfires, and he had drawn this enormously complex and very convincing correlation between the act of firing a gun, for a man this is obviously, the act of firing a gun, and the experience of the male orgasm. And you may not have expected that, but that's what happened. And when I'd forgotten all about that, and then when I fired this gun, I went, oh yeah, I get it. It's quite sort of sexual. Don't really want to be grubby about it, but you know, there is something about this long, hard shaft which feels like it's got this enormous tension in it, and then the tension suddenly bursts forth and releases its cargo. And there is something in that, and there's something primal in the male, that there is a connection with that experience of shooting a gun, which is, okay, you know, so something that men have to deal with, and I think it's something that about maturity. And so then we have three cases in this country in my lifetime, certainly probably in the last few years, Newbury in Berkshire, Dunblane in Scotland, and now Cumbria, where three white middle-aged men, who had obviously issues in their backgrounds, generally to do with their mothers, who all of them owned guns legally. They were all legal gun owners. They were allowed to have them. The police knew they had them, and they owned them and walked around the streets with them and just shot people. Once they flipped a lid. And the argument then has always been we should have tighter gun controls, of course, that's very obvious. And then the pro-gun lobby, it's hard to believe there is such a thing, but there's a very strong pro-gun lobby in this country. There's an enormously powerful and influential pro-gun lobby in the United States. The pro-gun lobby say, oh, we should all have guns, and if everyone had guns, then we wouldn't, that wouldn't happen because someone would shoot him before he shot that many people. And obviously that is complete nonsense and utter drivel. And I do want to live in a world where we're working towards no one being allowed to have a gun under any circumstances, ever. No excuse. And then all the sporting gun people, I had a lot of tweets from them. I'm very stupid, I get involved in these conversations. The pro-gun lobby, they were saying, oh, well, cars kill more people than guns, which has to be the most moronic and stupid argument that I've ever heard in my life, and only someone with a substandard IQ would even consider it. A car is a machine that's designed to take you down the supermarket or drive you along the motorway. A gun is a machine that has one specific aim in its existence, and that is to kill people. That's what it's for. That's what guns are for. And then people go, no, it's for shooting at targets. Yeah, the targets are your granny who cut you out of your will, or your mum who spurned you at breakfast this morning. That's the target. Come on. When men flip out, let them have a spoon or even a knife. You know, if a guy ran around with a knife and he wanted just to kill everyone, he's not going to kill as many people as a guy with a gun. Guns are very good at killing people. Anyway, so that's the gun argument. I want to ban all guns from everywhere in the whole world forever, now, today. That's my wet liberal stance on guns. No one should be allowed to have a gun. And then you can argue, okay, the police and the army have got to have guns. Okay, well, they can have them. That would be my compromise within a coalition administration, to allow the police and the army to have guns. Because I have met lots of soldiers and lots of policemen, and they are incredibly brave, and I think they do an amazing job, and you've got to hand it to them. But I don't like seeing policemen with guns, and there are some around. You know, everybody says, oh, the British police force aren't armed. Yes, they are. They're armed to the teeth. Like that quickly, if they need to be, believe me. Anyway, that's guns. Then oil. So the oil leak in the BP oil leak, I'm going to call it that. I'm British, and British Petroleum is a British company, and they deserve all the crap that is falling on their heads. I have no sympathy, no support, and I don't own any shares in BP. And they cut back on costs when they were drilling a mile deep underwater because they were under pressure from the previous administration in America, the Bush administration, to drill, baby, drill, get more oil. So they drill in 1 mile deep water. Now, the technological challenge of doing that is unimaginable. I mean, I think really brilliantly clever that it is possible to drill a hole a mile down in the water and extract oil from it. I mean, hats off to them that they've even managed to get halfway to doing it. The fact that it all went horribly wrong and it leaked could be a symbolic sign of our times, and it might be that it's possible that we look beyond using fossil fuels as the most vital source of energy that we have and wasting it in that extreme thing. And a lot of people have now criticised President Bush, who's finally come out and said it's time the American people weaned themselves off their addiction to fossil fuel. An American president said that, and I totally 100% support him. Okay, he's an illegal alien that wasn't born in America, and he's taking America into he's actually the devil. According to quite a few people, he's actually technically the devil that is here to destroy the entire world. The rest of the world are sitting around going, are you talking about the same guy? I mean, this is the American president, the best American president that any of us can ever remember. An extraordinary man who's really intelligent and has a brilliant grasp, a political grasp of what's going on. He's using the oil leak as a lever, quite politically and cruelly, to tip the balance of opinion in the central lump of America that are totally and utterly and hopelessly addicted to oil. Drive down any freeway in the Midwest and look at the size of the cars that people are still to this day driving along to go to work. One guy in a massive 3.5-ton pickup truck that does 5 to 6 miles to the gallon, and that is a sensible use of your basic human right to own a big truck. That's what it's all about. And what's the other basic human right you have to have when you have a big truck? Is you have a gun in your pocket. Two things I can't abide: massive oversized pickup trucks and guns. You know, that said, then you go to the Midwest and you meet hundreds and hundreds. The majority of people aren't like that. That's always the thing. The cliche is the big redneck jerk with the gun and the pickup truck, but they're probably 5-10% of the population. But because the population is quite big, that is quite a lot of people. I support President Obama and any wicked, cruel, evil, manipulative, communist-backed politicking he can do to start to suggest that the American populace use less fossil fuel, I think is a good thing. 25% of the fossil fuel on Earth is used by America, which makes up 5% of the population of the world. So they're a little bit, you know, to blame. This country, fuck, we haven't got a leg to stand on. We're absolutely stupid. We're one of the most polluting countries in Europe, and we should be ashamed and hang our heads in shame, but then lift our heads up and go, let's do something about it. I really hope we do. I'm sorry that I went on that long. That was all I'm going to say. If you have been, thank you for watching.